He stood in front of the steaming cart with torn shoes, a rumbling stomach, and exactly $3.27 in his pocket. Enough for one small meal, if the lady behind the food cart didn't turn him away. What he didn't know was that this moment, this one act of hunger and humility, would change both of their lives forever. Backhand index pointing right. If this story touches your heart, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more inspiring stories, and share it with someone who needs a little kindness today. It was the coldest morning in months. Wind pushed against the buildings like invisible waves crashing against stone. People hurried by, wrapped in scarves and burdened by bags, too busy to notice the young man sitting on the bench near the corner of 5th and Maple. His name was Liam, and this was day 12 of being jobless, homeless, and, he hated to admit it, hopeless. Once, not long ago, Liam had been a junior data analyst at a rising tech firm. He was good at his job, quiet, focused, reliable. But a sudden company restructure had left him and a dozen others without employment. At first, he believed he'd bounce back quickly. But interviews came and went. Rent piled up. Friends stopped responding. One by one, the threads of normalcy unraveled until Liam was left with only a backpack, a few clothes, and his last few dollars. That morning, hunger gnawed at his insides like a wild animal. He'd skipped meals to save money, but today he couldn't ignore it any longer. His fingers trembled from the cold as he counted the coins in his hand. Just enough for one meal, maybe something small from the food cart he'd seen across the street. It was a simple cart, painted turquoise, with a chalkboard sign that read, "Elena's Street Eats, made with heart." A pot of stew simmered beside a tray of warm bread. The smells, spiced, hearty, comforting, wrapped around him like a hug. He approached slowly, expecting judgment. Instead, he met Elena's eyes, soft, warm, curious. A woman in her late 50s, her silver-streaked hair tied back with a bandana, and kindness written into the laugh lines around her mouth. "Cold morning, huh?" she smiled. He hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah. How much is a small bowl?" She glanced at his shivering hands. "You look like you need a big one." "I only have," he started, holding out his coins. But she reached across the counter and gently pushed his hand down. "Sit. Eat first." Liam blinked. "I can't pay for more." She gave a small shrug. "Doesn't matter." That bowl was the best thing Liam had tasted in weeks. Rich with lentils, carrots, and homemade broth. She added 2 slices of bread, warm and buttery. He ate in silence, trying not to let his tears fall into the bowl. When he finished, he stood. "Thank you, but why?" Elena didn't stop chopping vegetables. "Because someone once did the same for me. I know what it's like to feel invisible." Curiosity pushed past Liam's pride. "You? But you run this cart." She smiled, soft and sad. "I started it with a second-hand pot and 50 borrowed dollars. Before that, I slept in my car for 3 months. Life's a circle. What you give always finds its way back." From that day on, Liam came by the cart each morning, not always to eat, but to talk, to help, to feel human again. Elena let him wash dishes, wipe counters, carry crates. She never made him feel like charity, just company. But life, as always, tested the fragile warmth they'd built. One afternoon, city officials posted a notice on the cart: Elena's license was being revoked. A complaint had been filed about food safety violations. It was likely a competitor who wanted her corner. Elena's face paled as she read the notice. The cart, her only income, was at risk. "I can't lose this," she whispered. Liam felt fury rise in him. She'd saved him, now it was his turn. Over the next 2 weeks, Liam made it his mission to help her. He researched regulations, gathered signatures from regulars, and posted their story online. The kindness cart post went viral. Hundreds commented, offering support. A former food inspector who had read the story offered to recheck her setup, for free. Even the local news ran a small feature. When officials returned, Elena's cart was spotless, compliant, and supported by the community. They reversed the decision. That night, after closing, Elena handed Liam an envelope. Inside was a letter of recommendation and a job referral. "You're smart, dependable, and you helped me when you didn't have to," she said, wiping her eyes. "My friend owns a small tech startup. He needs someone like you." Liam didn't know what to say. The young man who once had only enough for one meal now held hope in his hands. A year passed. Liam now worked full-time, rented his own apartment, and volunteered weekly at shelters. But every Saturday, without fail, he came back to Elena's cart. One chilly December morning, he surprised her. He handed her a folded piece of paper. "What's this?" she asked. He grinned. "A business grant. I nominated you. They're funding a second cart and a small soup kitchen." Elena's eyes filled. She hugged him tightly. "I don't know what to say." "You already said it," he smiled. "Life's a circle. In a world that often rushes past the struggling and the silent, sometimes the smallest act, like a warm bowl of stew, can change a life." Elena gave more than food that day, she gave dignity, purpose, and hope. And in return, Liam gave it back tenfold. So the next time you see someone in need, remember, one act of kindness can echo farther than you'll ever know.